Okay, Shalom Akim, Kahalayim La Yahabashim Yasha Bashim Kudash, and double on Instagrams and apostles. Thought how thought Yasha for the strength in order to make this video. And yeah, Ratazal that this video is also edifying for you, man. Could be a quick one here, because really it's just it's an update on the tariff situation with between Babylon and Moab. But as I named it, Moab isn't tolerating nonsense from Babylon, man, because they have as Trump increased the tariffs on Moab recently. Moab has also backfired with their response on I think the latest one is probably 84% on US on 84% tariffs on imported products into China. But the consumers of American products, I presume, would be way lower in China than the consumers of Chinese products or Chinese uses in America, because of course China is where most of the production happens in. As the scriptures say, man. Moab is my wash spot. If I'll probably just start off with that before I play this video. And yeah, either this one might be a little bit long. I say a little bit long, but how the spirit goes, we'll see. Or I'm gonna just split it into two videos. But yeah, so let me just get that preset quickly. All right, so check if it's still recording. Moab is my wash pot. Moab wash pot. It's really a wash pot. Is used to clean things, man. To clean off the dirt off of I guess you could say plates or even clothes. Well, pots really is for washing plates, anyways. Back in Nigeria, you got Judah over there. Of course, you got other tribes there too, like Benjamin and Levi, of whom use bowls, man, to wash. So that's what Moab is like. So it says in Psalm 60:8, Moab is my washpot, over Edom will I cast out my shoe. Philistia, triumph thou because of me. Same thing in Psalms 108:9. Moab is my washpot, over Edom will I cast out my shoe. Over Philistia will I triumph. So, Moab also be taking up the dirty work, man. Which is really the reason why I brought out the scripture, Moab is my washpot, ultimately. And, he's the one who's taking up the dirty work of manufacturing, man. You got Moab, you got Elam as well, India, but mainly Moab is known for their manufacturing. That's why a lot of things say made in China, man. Because a lot of businesses export, not export, but rather rely on the Chinese manufacturers to bring in supplies into foreign countries, man. So yeah, Moab is my wash spot. Anyways, let's get back to the video. Okay, cool. Let's continue here. But yeah, as I brought up before, man, Moab is the Most High's wash spot, man. Dealing with all that dirty work. Anyways, so yeah, as the title goes on the BBC News video, United States hitting China with 145% tariffs. White House confirms. This was 9 hours ago, man. Currently it's the 11th today, of April. So might as well continue this.
Just in the last few moments, the BBC has confirmed that US tariffs against China add up to 145%. That is on top of, that is including the existing 20% tariffs that were already imposed on the country at the beginning of the year. And also, after yesterday's huge rally on Wall Street, today we are seeing a very different picture. Share prices falling on the US stock exchange as uncertainty continues over the US trade policy. The Dow is down 3.4%, the S&P 500 down 4.2%, and the Nasdaq is down 5%. Trading, however, in Europe and Asia, though, saw prices surge. So let's talk to our correspondents in Washington and in New York. Jake Cron joins us first. And Jake, we've got this clarification from the White House as to the tariffs that China faced. Just talk us through what we're learning, because initially we'd thought that China was on 125% tariff, already eye-watering, but we've had some kind of clarity now.
Yes, I mean, this 145% is the clarification from the White House today. The BBC finally has that number now. But there was a bit of a confusion earlier because, yes, as you say, Mr. Trump had tweeted earlier, put it on his Truth Social earlier, that the tariff rate on China will be 125%. So now the White House has clarified that, yes, there is the existing 20% that Mr. Trump has slapped on China due to what he accuses China of is letting fentanyl flow to the U.S. So now we have the 145%. But I want to point out that this is kind of a telling of how much confusion and still uncertainty around this tariff announcement.
Yeah, it makes sense because Babylon means confusion, doesn't it? To babble, just saying random words really leads to confusion. So Babylon really is referring to the land of confusion. So of course, this ruler would be doing things in order to confuse people. Like, why is he doing this? All in all, the Mosai is just making him run his program, making Nero run his program, and in order to fulfill prophecy. I know all of this as well, these tariffs, as they call it right now, whether to establish it as a trade war between China and USA, or as something that's going to be a little, I guess, spike in the economic system. But nevertheless of that, all of that, can lead to hyperinflation, man. Because if they keep raising these tariffs, it means, especially America and China, it means any businesses of which I'm a play another second video Yara as well, either in this one or in the part 2. But when American businesses that use Chinese suppliers to get products, or Chinese manufacturers in order to get products in the US, they have to pay that 145% tax, to the US, man, which obviously will bring in more revenue to the US government. Hence why Trump said make America wealthy again. But those businesses that are in America using Chinese suppliers or Chinese manufacturers will have to suffer that, man. Someone's gonna have to pay up. Hence why they either swallow it up and pay it, or they're gonna have to raise their prices, man. Hence why the US products that are then imported are ordered. You're gonna start to see them price hikes, man. That's when the inflation then comes through, and then before you know it, if the trade war gets too loose, that's when it will lead to hyperinflation, man. So that's really what's happening. Because I remember in the last video, that was me with a lower level of understanding, that I will say, because I thought initially the tariff is a tax on other countries where the other countries have to pay. But really, when you think about it, when US citizens have businesses or which use Chinese manufacturers, they have to import those parts in order to create those products, or to import those products from the warehouses in China to America. So hence, the US citizens themselves have to pay that money, man. So with that hyperinflation to go on, that's also another aspect of the downfall of America, man. You know, businesses can't afford to pay the tariffs anymore. Then gradually they won't be able to afford to pay their employees, and after that, grinders cease, man, which means the workers cease. So I'll get that one quickly. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 3. In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease, because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened, man. Those that look out the windows referring to children. The grinders are referring to the workers, people who have their jobs. And in the day that the keepers of the house, that really is referring to women, because they're the ones who are supposed to be keepers of the house. I think Titus 2 also refers to that. I won't get it though. This is the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, man. But the point is, it says the grinders cease because they are few. The AI technology displacing work, that's one thing. And also these tariffs as well, making businesses not be able to afford to pay their employees. So that's what that's talking about. Anyways, let's get back to the video though.
Around this tariff announcement. Even in the Congress here, we saw earlier the Republicans and the Democrat senators talk about this tariff issue, and there seems to be an amazing amount of confusion. Let me just read you one quote from Republican Senator Ron Johnson, and he was saying, "I still don't know what his total strategy is," referring to Mr. Trump. "I don't know what the end game is here." And Democratic Senator Elisa Slotkin, she was saying, "I'm just trying to understand what the hell is happening." And it seems that there's even confusion amongst the White House, amongst the staff of Mr. Trump. Yesterday, we saw Mr. Jameson Greer, who is Mr. Trump's top trade official. He was testifying in front of the Congress. And as he was testifying for hours, he's appeared to be unaware of this 90-day pause that Mr. Trump has announced, and that led him to being berated by one of the Democratic politicians, saying that, hey, your boss seems to know something that you don't. So all this uncertainty, it looms over what the market is going to do for the next 90 days.
Yeah, and on that, let's cross over to Erin Delmore and have a look at what the markets are doing. Jake, thank you very much, because, Erin, yesterday we saw that absolutely huge rally, that surge upwards. Today, however, the markets are not looking so good.
Right, and that's a reaction to the sizable tariffs that remain in place on U.S. imports from China. As you said, stands at 145%. 20%, the administration has said, is in response to China's handling of the fentanyl crisis, and an additional 125% put into effect yesterday. Now, that makes investors uneasy, and we're seeing it play out on Wall Street. The Dow is down nearly 1,700 points as we speak. That's down 4.14%. The S&P down closer to 5%. The Nasdaq down more than 5%, in fact, about 5 3/4. But what we need to do, as much as we can talk about the historic...
And all of those that she listed are really US stocks, man. As they call it, some of them like the S&P 500. For the brothers who are into, that type of, into the stock, stock market and all that for investing. That's like a index fund, which is like the top 500 companies, if I recall correctly. You got the other ones as well, Nasdaq and the Dow. So those are the stock prices going down, man. So really, as they say, I was trying to remember the quote, man. When there's blood in the streets, that's when you gotta buy. So roughly phrasing it, but the point is that's basically for investors. This is really a good thing, because it means they can buy up the stocks before, if the Most High wills it, for the market to recover, man. But it just shows you that investors are scared, man. That's what these index funds and stock prices getting dropped. That's what it signifies, man. People people's confidence in Babylon is decreasing. So, rightfully so, rightfully so. Let's play a bit more. In fact, speaking on that point, I might as well get a precept on that. Okay. You know what? Hold on. Alright, so this is Isaiah 19 and verse 1 to about verse 4. The burden of Egypt, behold, the Lord Yahweh rideth upon a swift cloud, and shall come into Egypt, and the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. Quite literally as well, because they're destined. Babylon, aka America, is destined for a nuclear missile destruction, man. You could read Joel 2 if you want to know more. That great army is reference to the nuclear missiles. Anyways, verse 2, and I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight every one against his brother, and every one against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. That could be for multiple reasons, man. Lack of bread can be a major one. When people don't get their necessities, their supposed necessities. The reason why I say supposed is because we know for us, as the scripture says, Yahweh said, man shall not live by bread alone. But we live on the word of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. That's where our faith is in. On Yahweh Shem Yahushua through the scriptures. Now it says in verse 2, and I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight every one against his brother, and every one against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. Verse 3, and the spirit of Egypt shall fill in the midst thereof. I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they shall seek to idols, to the charmers, and to them that have familiar spirits, and to the wizards. So, of course, they're going to go to all sorts of people, man, to get advice from. Eventually, they're going to realize these people can't help you. These charmers, familiar spirits, and wizards, man, they can't do anything, man. Yeah, there ain't going to be nothing to do. So, verse 4, and the Egyptians will I give over into the hand of a cruel lord, aka Nero, President Trump, Donald J. Trump. And a fierce king shall rule over them, saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts. And of course, Nero, Trump is just warming up right now with these tariffs, man. He's just warming up. Right, let's get back to the video.
Need to do, as much as we can talk about the historic rally yesterday on Wall Street, is actually take the numbers back to April 2nd, which is when President Trump announced his tariffs. If we go back to that mark, the S&P is down around 6%. So as much as we can talk about this roller coaster ride that we've had in the last weeks, and yes, the S&P landed above 9% yesterday. That's a one-day high since 2008. The Dow, a one-day high going back to as far as March 2020, the NASDAQ saw its best day since 2021. Yes, all banner numbers, but put it into context with what we've seen the last week, and the S&P, that broad 500 company index, is broadly down.
Erin, as always, thank you very much. Ellen Delmore there, our North America business correspondent. Also, our thanks to Jake Kwon joining us from Washington on the very latest there. And just a line coming from the former U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, who is saying that the threat, the instability from the falling of the markets and the falling prices for the U.S. Treasury debt, that is, of course, the bonds, that was the reason she reckons why Donald Trump then created this pause. Of course, we're hearing from the White House that this was always part of the plan, so a little bit of confusion.
But you know what they don't know? This was always part of the Most High's will to be executed. It's all part of Yahweh's will to be executed. So ultimately, we're all just playing the Most High's plan. Man's going of the law, so how can a man that understand his own way? Proverbs 20 and 24. Alright, so anyways, man, this is the first video. So Yaratazar, I'm gonna do a second video. Get a few precepts there. That's probably gonna be quite short. On just a few more details to get an understanding into the effects of these tariffs, of the effects of this trade war, however long it may last for. At the end of the day, it's all just leading to Babylon's downfall, man. Even Moab gonna be flipping punished as well. But I'll bring it out in the part 2 Yarat as well. Alright, so yeah, Shalom, Yabashim Yashar, Brak Thumb.